to do what we need to do to get by and to succeed and to climb the ladder. And in church will be very good.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
We can easily substitute these words for mosque and life. Many people are leading these lives that in mosque we are Islamic. But outside, okay, you know, we do what we need to do to get by. So what happens is, for example, in my country we will call them members of parliament. Here, I guess you're calling them senators, congressmen, councillors. Politicians.
This is a demonstration
they have this.
of Wirecast.
They say, you know what? We will observe our religion and we will do our job, and these two should not be confused. So over here we can act in a certain way, but over there we will act in a certain way. For example, in the last few months only, in the UK, you may have heard of someone called Tim Farron. Tim Farron was the leader of the Liberal Democrat Party. We have two main parties, and this is the third party. He was the leader of this party, and lo and behold, one day he resigned. And he made a statement. And he said, I do not think my Christian beliefs are compatible anymore with the job that I want to do. I found that very honorable, actually, that he took a stand. And he admitted this. He had the guts to say it in public. He said, I have to stand down. My Christian beliefs do not allow me to carry on. But many people are not like this. They will continue. And they will always be in conflict. And they will never have sukoon. They will never have peace of mind. Because these things are clashing. So this is one reaction to the debate. That we separate out. We become part-time Christians, Muslims, whatever. Second reaction to this debate is people say, you know what? We want to remove ourselves completely from society. We want to live off the grid. We want nothing to do with society. We want to become almost like monks. Almost like extreme ascetics.
This is a demonstration
having nothing to do with the world
Wirecast.
whatsoever. We don't have to meet people. We don't have to deal with anyone. We don't have to enter into the complications of life. This is the only way we can save our spirituality and our beliefs. Thirdly, some people say, no, we will become anarchists. We will revolt and we will protest everything you can think of. Now, I don't need to go into detail, but as you can see, all of these three are flawed. In Islam, we cannot really say either of these is the solution. In one, Islam does not agree with a part-time Muslim. In the second, Islam definitely doesn't agree that you remove yourself from society and live the life of a hermit, for example. And number three, with no structure and no solution, to always be protesting without any end goal also doesn't make sense. Although all three of them have noble intentions. All three of them are trying to somehow divert the matter
This is a demonstration
and deal with
of
it.
Wirecast.
So something is not right. We feel it. When we watch the news, we sense it. When we see people in ragged clothes, walking the streets, living out of supermarket carts, we feel something is not right. Whilst we are in the luxury of our air-conditioned luxury cars, something doesn't feel right.
This is a demonstration
So how do we
of
deal with this?
Wirecast.
What does Islam say? Inshallah, this is our topic tonight with Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Islam says there is a way that you can live fulfilling the necessary bodily needs, at the same time not sacrificing your akhirat, your principles, not damaging your soul, not polluting yourself with sin.
This is a demonstration of
It comes down to
Wirecast.
one simple spark of the mind. This is what I call it, spark of the mind. If this spark ignites, then things become very easy. If this spark doesn't happen, then we live in conflict for a long time. It is called worldview. How do you see the world? One worldview we can say it's animalistic.
This is a
What does that mean?
demonstration
It
of
means
Wirecast.
that the person who views the world as the end and as the objective, it's a rather animalistic way of looking at things. Why? Generally speaking, the world takes care of our physical needs. So when we're hungry, we eat. When we're thirsty, we drink. When we feel lustful, we fulfill our lusts. We need a we need a roof over our head, we buy a house. We need to get A to B, we buy a car. This is when we look at the world almost like animals. It's just day-to-day living. We need to fulfill our physical needs. If we are angry, we lash out. When we feel we need some comfort, we find comfort. So this is one way of looking at the world. The other way of looking at the world is actually, we're not here for permanence. We're here temporarily. We're passing by.
This is a demonstration
We're not stopping.
of Wirecast.
Imagine you go on holiday. You go on holiday for 2 weeks. You check into your hotel. Your kids are with you. Your kids say, Dad, Mom, I'm going to the local hardware store. Why? I want to buy paint. Why do you want to buy paint? I want to paint these walls of the hotel. I want to buy a nice rug. I want to buy some furniture. I want to replace this TV.
Is a demonstration
this bathroom
of
doesn't look right. I'll
Wirecast.
retile. You'll say, are you crazy? We're here for 2 weeks only. What do you mean? Just put up with it, whatever it is. You don't like the color. Tough luck. We're going soon. This is the way basically Islam looks at this world. That, yes, you need parts of it. But you have an eye on a much loftier, longer life ahead of you. Or a plane. You're a passenger in a plane.
This is a
You're going from Los
demonstration of
Angeles to London.
Wirecast.
11-hour flight, approx. In this flight, you are there. There are people around you. Some of them you will like. Some of them you will not like. Some of them won't like you. You look around, you see one person reading, one person tapping his keyboard, one person watching the movie, one person eating. Everyone is consumed in their own little lives. You could be fooled into thinking that this cylinder in which I am traveling is my world. But then when you look out of the window,
is a demonstration
you see
of
something
Wirecast.
else. You say, actually, no. I'm part of a much wider, bigger reality. The world is much bigger than this cylinder in which I am. And that gives you some direction, some inspiration. You realize, hang on a second, is it worth me spending so much time and effort trying to make my stay here in this cylinder as much as I can? You realize, hang on a second, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to get out and I'm going to continue my journey.
This is a demonstration of
So
Wirecast.
the value from this, what we take, is that we view the world as a place of passing rather than a place of permanence. We are here only for a limited time, and this is not our life. Our life extends beyond this. This is a part of our life. It's a very important part, but it's not the whole thing. Now we come on to the second part of the discussion with Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Those pure souls who were present with Imam Hussein in Karbala, tell me, were they there by chance? Was it a fluke that they arrived in Karbala? Did they have nothing better to do? Were they just passing by the area? What happened? How did these people reach Karbala?
This is a
You know,
demonstration
Imam Hussein
of
al-Islam was
Wirecast.
quite selective in whom he chose. He was quite selective. There were people in Medina willing to travel with Imam. Imam said, you can't come. Someone in history, we have this, that someone came forward and said, oh Imam, I wish to come with you. Imam said, tell me about yourself. Do you have any debts or anyone's haqq on you that you have not paid? He said, yes, I owe someone something. Imam says, then you can't come.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
People went to Karbala in a very specific manner. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't by chance. They made certain decisions in their life to get them to Karbala. My question is, brothers and sisters, with all humility, how is it that these 72 to 100 people made the right decision to be there in Karbala? What makes a person take a right decision and a person take a wrong decision? How do we in our lives take the right decision when it counts? In life, generally speaking, we make millions of decisions. By the time we die, we'll have made millions of decisions. Most of them are mundane. Most of them don't have a massive impact on the world. On a daily basis, we're always making small decisions. Generally, they are mundane. However, in life, at certain intervals, we have these major decisions.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Maybe they are less than 10. Maybe around 5 major decisions in our lives. At these critical junctures of our life, how do we take the right decision? Is there any dua? Special dua to make a right decision? Is there any a'mal? You know, sometimes I laugh. Some people say, Maulana, I want to do this in my life. Teach me a dua.
This is a demonstration
Teach me
of
a zikr.
Wirecast.
Tell me, what do I need to recite to do this? This is nonsensical. These kinds of things of character building don't come from reciting a dua here and there and a zikr here and there. They come through character building. So, these momentous decisions in our life, for example, what will I study? What career will I choose? When will I marry? Whom will I marry? What lifestyle I will adopt? How I will raise my children? What goals and ambitions I will inculcate in my offspring? These are all major decisions. And these affect big things in life. Now, how to go about making these decisions? Well, let's first of all identify the problem. There is a problem. Do you agree with me or not? There's a problem that sometimes moments come along and we take, unfortunately, the wrong decision. And later on in life, we start to regret. We said, you know what, if only I would have done something else with my life. Now, this problem is called fitna. What is the meaning of fitna? Someone tell me. No, we would not say regret. Being alert. Fitna. We wouldn't say being alert. I want the proper definition of this word fitna.
This is a demonstration
Many
of
a times in
Wirecast.
our languages, we say fitna, fasad. We say this, isn't it? Fitna, fasad. We put these two together. Actually, they are two different things. Fitna is when a situation is confusing, when you cannot ascertain right from wrong, when you can't understand what is correct and what is incorrect. This is known as fitna. Sometimes we recite in our ziyarat of our 12th Imam, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, Al-Aman, Al-Aman, Al-Aman min fitnatiz zaman. Oh my master, I ask you for safety, safety, safety from this confusing situation in the time that I am in. This is fitna. It's when it becomes difficult to distinguish haqq and batil. Now, if you are ready for a hadith from our Holy Prophet, which when I hear it, it always shakes my heart, let me put that before you with one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Rasulullah was sat with his companions. Rasulullah spoke to them. He says, I fear for you. Now, when he says, I fear for you in this way, it doesn't mean that
This is
group
a
of companions
demonstration of
only. He's talking about
Wirecast.
the ummah. You, plural, you, wide, very broad sense. He says, I fear for you. They said, Ya Rasulullah, what do you fear? He said, I fear that after me, you will not do amra bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar. Amra bil ma'roof means what? Encouraging good. Nahi anil munkar means what? Discouraging bad.
This
They
is a
said, Ya
demonstration
Rasulullah,
of
how can this be?
Wirecast.
We've come into this religion, we've given our lives, we've given our sweat, we've given our toil for this religion. We love you, we love Allah, we love Islam. How can you say this? This is one of the fundamentals. Rasulullah says, no, actually, there's something worse than this which will happen. They said, Rasulullah, what can be worse than this? He says, I fear for you that a time will come when you will order
This is a
or
demonstration of
encourage
Wirecast.
evil and dissuade or discourage good. In other words, you will do amr bil munkar, nahi anil ma'roof. You will switch them. A time will come when you will find people, the ummah, us, our community, encouraging evil, discouraging good. They said again, Ya Rasulullah, this cannot happen. We don't agree. He says, no,
This is a demonstration
even worse
of
than this.
Wirecast.
They said, Ya Allah, what can be worse than this? He said, worse than this is that a time will come when you will be totally confused. You will think of evil as good and good as evil. And that will be the worst situation. So what will happen is, imagine, let's go now in a process and we look at what will happen as a result of this.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
If our instinct is to promote good, and now we don't know what is good and we think evil is good, then naturally we are promoting evil. And if our instinct is to prevent bad, and now we don't know what is bad, but we think good is bad, we are preventing good. If we were supposed to hold on to haqq, we are now holding on to batil. If we were supposed to hold on to batil, if we were supposed to reject batil, we are now rejecting.
This is a demonstration of
It's a very
Wirecast.
delicate, sensitive, worrying situation. So, how does this right decision-making power come to us? There are a number of views and ways of looking at this. Number one, some people say it's based on knowledge. Knowledge of the right thing will give you the right result and the right decision. Is it a good argument? Can anyone pick a hole in this
is
argument?
a demonstration of Wirecast.
Does it sound good? In Karbala, tell me, in the army of Umar Sa'ad, did they have knowledge of who this person was that they are about to kill or not? Umar Sa'ad, did he himself know who this person is? Sayyidul Shuhada, did he know who he is? He knew. Most of them knew. Most of them, some of them were those who had even written letters to Imam Hussein to invite him to come to Kufa. So they knew. Knowledge is not enough. It can be a factor, but it's not enough. Some people say, well, if your background is good, your parenting is good, if your parents raised you in the right way, again we will say no. In Karbala, you had people there, Hafiz-e-Quran, people outwardly religious. What happened? They participated in the murder of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Some people came from good families. Some people say haram rizq. That when you consume haram, either in food or your wealth comes from a haram source, this can lead to confusion of decisions and you don't see right from wrong. That is also a part of it, but it's not the full extent of it. These are all factors, but these are not the total reason.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We can say with a lot of conviction that when values become distorted, when right and wrong become confused, when deep underlying issues which people find very uncomfortable to bring forth are not brought forth, we see Karbala happening. Let me give you a few examples with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
There's another story about the Holy Prophet, that he's on a journey and he and his companions arrive at a desert. Evening is coming. They decide to camp there and rest there. To rest in the desert, you need a fire. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Rasulullah says, I want you to all go and gather bits of wood so that we can start a fire. They said, Ya Rasulullah, this is a desert. We don't find wood here. He says, please go and look. And he himself looked. And they went and they found bits of twig and sticks and this and that, small bits of wood each. They gathered it up. All of them came, put it in a big pile. All of a sudden, in a few minutes, the pile was large because they did a collective effort. Rasulullah says, in this way, on the day of judgment, you will see how your sins have multiplied. You think this is small thing, small issue, this, that. It multiplies like a snowball, my friends. It multiplies before you can even know it. And you'll see all of a sudden, oh my God, because of certain habits and certain lifestyles, I have amassed a mountain of sin. Where do these sins go? They are stored. Where are they stored? They are stored in the soul. The spiritual memory has it etched into it, each and every indiscretion. So these are all of the things, unfortunately, that we will have to put up with when we go in the life hereafter if we don't do something about it.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So therefore, one of the principles we can have in our lives is istighfar, asking Allah for forgiveness. Now, the spirit of istighfar. What is the most important element of istighfar, if someone can tell me, with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad? Of all of the elements of istighfar, niyyah.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Niyyah, sincerity. Anyone else would like to? Not returning to it. Anyone else? Learn from your mistake. Anything else? Identify the issue. Anything else? Maybe I'm not hearing it and you mean it, but let me put it into crystal clear language. The essence of istighfar is remorse.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Regret. That is the essence of istighfar. Whether you say astaghfirullah, whether you go into sajda, whether you do a'mal, whether you do shab-e qadr a'mal, whatever you want to do, however you want to manifest it, the essence of istighfar is remorse. Remorse is what Allah is seeking more than anything. To know what is wrong and that you did wrong. That is very important. That is very, very important. And Imam Hussain actually highlights this as he leaves Medina. Uridu an amura bil ma'ruf wa anha anil munkar. I am leaving here. I am going on this journey of mine which will culminate in his shahadat. I am going on this journey of mine to order people to do good, dissuade them from doing evil. It's a big responsibility. People generally, they don't want to do it. My friends, if I had $1 or £1, every time someone said to me, Maulana, can you recite this? This is an issue in the community. I don't know where I would be right now. I always say to them, well, I can, but so can you. You can do the same thing. No, I can't do it. You are in this position, mashallah. What position? Everyone has this responsibility. Every single person has this responsibility to do. So, we can only do this if we understand what is right and what is wrong. Now, how do we overcome
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Habits that have formed. Because some of us are now at an age where we have some habits and it's hard to shift habits. Like I said in the first few lectures, once you get to 40 and beyond, it becomes very difficult to shift these habits. Not impossible, but difficult. So how do we deal with these habits? 3 strategies, inshallah, from the akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The first is start to self-discipline.
This is a demonstration
Start
of
to
Wirecast.
self-discipline. Someone came to one of the Urafa. Urafa is plural of Arif. Arif means someone very much connected with Allah, known for his spirituality, for example. He comes to him and says, this is a bureaucrat, comes to him and says, I feel I am very arrogant. What do I do? The Arif told him, well, in that case, you want something now? He says, yes, I want something right now. He says, in that case, look, there's a majlis going on there.
This is a demonstration
Go
of
and
Wirecast.
arrange people's shoes nicely. Do something to make you feel a little bit humble. Another person comes and says, what are you doing? He says, I'm arranging these shoes nicely. I want to feel humble. That person also begins to join in. And he goes to the Arif and says, look, you know how good I am? I did all those shoes. The Arif says, well, your problem is not that you're not humble. Your problem is that you're a show-off. That you're coming and telling me these things. So for him, there's something else. So every individual is slightly different. We all have certain vices.
This is a
And the only way to deal with them
Wirecast.
is to identify and then to do a practice that would somehow pain your soul. Somehow allow the soul to feel a little bit of pain on this bad habit. Second strategy from akhlaq of Aimma is to stop making excuses for our actions. We do this a lot. One thing, if I can leave you with one thing tonight, then remember this.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We judge others on their actions. We judge ourselves on our intentions. So someone else, I will say, you did this, you did that, you're bad. Why? Because I saw his action. But when I do it, I'll say, no, I did it because I couldn't help it because the reason I went into this was because. So I know my intention, so I justify my action. But other people, I will judge them on their actions only. Which one is right? Intentions for both. So if you have a good intention and a bad action, is it okay? The question is, if you have a good intention, you do a bad action, is it okay?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Yeah. Ahsant. You cannot do it regardless of intention. Intentions do not transform miraculously sins into good deeds. Many people say, well, niyat was saf. Niyat was clean. So I did it. What's the big deal? I'm sorry. But niyat doesn't transform your sin into a good deed. You have to be very careful of these things. So we must stop making excuses.
This is a demonstration
Sometimes
of
we
Wirecast.
say things like, I would rather not go to mosque because those who go to mosque, they do a lot of ghibat. I would rather not wear hijab. Those people who wear hijab, they're like this. So, okay, bismillah, you be the first person who comes to mosque and doesn't do ghibat. You wear hijab and don't do those bad things. Let's not confuse different deeds, my friends. These are different deeds. If you do one good deed and have a bad deed, then alhamdulillah, you work on your bad deed. But don't say, well, I'm not even going to do the good deed. That doesn't make sense. And you know the best one, the one which I love the most, is when people say, yes, but we saw even Maulanas do this. That's the best. I love it. Try that on the Day of Judgment. Tell Allah, well, I saw this Maulana do it. Come on, let's take responsibility. Let's call a spade a spade. If you're doing wrong,
This
let's live
is
up
a
to it.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Our soul is uncomfortable in realizing it is wrong. Generally, the soul does not want to hear it is wrong. So we must convince it by getting rid of these nonsensical arguments. And strategy number 3, the most difficult. This is the most difficult. This here requires a lot of introspection, a lot of looking within. Every sin
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
has an underlying reason. Any doctors in the room? There are doctors in the room. Every symptom has an underlying disease. There's something going on deeper. We look at the symptoms, we try to get to what is causing this. Every sin, generally, we can say, has an underlying disease of the soul. An arrogant person.
This is
Why is
a
he arrogant?
demonstration of Wirecast.
A proud person, why is he proud? Generally, it is because they feel inferior. Somehow there is some inferiority deep down there that they feel, well, I have to show that I'm bigger than other people. Show off. Someone who is a show off, ostentatious. Why is he a show off? Somehow, somewhere deep down, he thinks that the appreciation of people is more
This is a
important than the appreciation of Allah.
Wirecast.
There's an issue there. Someone who earns haram rizq with impunity. Somehow it's got into his head that barakat and wealth is in haram and not in halal. There are some issues down there. We generally don't want to go there because it's very uncomfortable. It takes effort, it takes time, it's arduous, it's difficult, we don't want to go there.
This is a
But without
demonstration
that,
of Wirecast.
we won't get to that amazing state that we leave this world with a very tranquil heart, qalb salim. Illa man atallahu biqalbin salim. Woe be on that day except for one who arrives with a tranquil heart. So these are some of the things which I wanted to mention regarding living in this world. Now we come on to this great saying of Sayyid al-Shuhada Abi Abdullah Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam encapsulates this in such a beautiful sentence. He says, An-nas abidud dunya. People are typically slaves of the world. وَالدِّينُ لَعِقٌ عَلَىٰ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. Religion remains on their tongue like lip service. I'm paraphrasing. Religion remains on their tongue.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
يَحُوتُونَهُ مَا دَرَّتْ مَعَايِشُهُمْ. They remain religious as long as life is good. As long as income is coming, as long as things are being fulfilled, as long as health is there, as long as wealth is there, yeah, we can be religious, no problem. فَإِذَا مُحِّسُوا بِالْبَلَاءِ. But the moment that bala and calamity and difficulty comes upon them,
Wirecast.
قَلَّ الدَّيَّانُونَ. The religious become very few. This world is not easy to handle, and coming up with the right world view and dealing with it in a responsible manner is not easy. This is not what I'm trying to say. It requires effort. But at least let's try. At least let's make that effort. We can go to Allah and we can say, oh Allah, maybe I wasn't successful, you judge me, but I tried.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I can say that I tried. I looked at your teachings and I made an effort. Now, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, he has a piece of advice which I think I will pick up on tomorrow because time is a little bit beyond us. But he warns us against two things. He says, Inna
This is a
akhwafa ma
demonstration
akhafu
of
alaykum
Wirecast.
ithnatan. He says, O people, I fear for you two things. Two things are worrying me about you. Ittiba'ul hawa, following your base desires. Watulul amal, and having lengthy and unlikely dreams and aspirations. Now, what does that mean? How do we put it into this context? Inshallah, we will pick up on this tomorrow with salawat ala Muhammad wa
This
ali
is a
Muhammad.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Tonight, we remember the last of the companions of Imam Hussein. From tomorrow, we start to remember the family members of the third Imam. We love our Imam. We are deeply in love with our Imam. We wish to go again and again to Karbala. May Allah give us all tawfiq to go again and again. To do
This
the ziyarat
is a
of Imam, to pledge
demonstration
our
of
allegiance to
Wirecast.
Imam, to express our love and affection for Imam. Tonight, I want to remember someone who is actually known by this name of lover. That is Habib. Habib ibn Madahir is this intense lover of Imam Hussein. May Allah give us the heart of Habib, inshallah.
This is a demonstration
Habib
of Wirecast.
is that companion that when Janab Zainab looks out towards the forces of Yazid, and by the day of Ashura, the forces had amassed in Karbala. Every section of the army was led by one general, and they came in battalions. And as these battalions gathered, they made a massive army. So one battalion was led by
This is a
Shimr,
demonstration of Wirecast.
one battalion by Hurmala, one battalion by someone else, and all of these different battalions amassed, and it became, from what we understand of history, if we take a median number, maybe 30,000 is the figure that we find is roughly reliable. So 30,000 and maybe 100 men on this side. Janab Zainab comes to
This
her
is a
beloved brother
demonstration of Wirecast.
and says, "Oh brother, the forces are amassing and we have very few people. Let us think. Is there anyone else that we can call upon to come to our aid?" Imam and Bibi Zainab begin to think. Bibi Zainab then asks a question to Imam Hussein. She says, "Wait, I have remembered something. Do you recall when you were a child and you would play and you would fall? There used to be an elder youth who would keep his eye on you, who would run to you, who would pick you up, who would make sure you are okay. I believe that person was Habib ibn Mazahir. Let us send word to Habib. Let us ask him to come and help us." Imam agrees. They send a message to Habib. Habib is living in Kufa. Habib receives the letter of Imam. Habib opens the letter. What is written? It is written, "This is a letter from Hussein, the one who is gharib in Karbala, the one who is lonely and alone in Karbala." Habib begins to cry. Habib takes the letter, kisses the letter, puts it to his eyes. His wife asks, "Habib, what is happening?" He says, "The son of Zahra has called for my help." She says, "Do not wait any longer, you must go." Habib has a conversation with his his servant. He says to his servant, do me one last thing before I free you. Prepare my horse. I ride to Karbala. The servant asks, Mawla, why do you ride to Karbala? He says, the son of Zahra is calling me. The servant says, am I free now to go from your service? Habib says, yes, you can go. He says, I will come with you. I also love Imam Hussein. They ride to Karbala. When they reach Karbala and they reach the camp of the Ahlul Bayt, there is a commotion. People are happy that Habib has arrived. They remember Habib. They love Habib. Habib only loves one. He looks around and says, where is my master Hussein? He wrote to me. Imam comes forth. They meet. And then Janab Zainab sends Bibi Fizza. She says to Bibi Fizza, go and give my salams to Habib. He is our guest. When the message is given to Habib that the daughter of Ali is giving you salam, Habib begins to cry and says, now I understand how lonely you must be. I am here for your service. I cannot believe that she is sending me her salams in such a respectful manner on the day of Ashura. Habib comes to his lover Imam Hussein. He says to his Mawla, he says, oh Aba Abdullah, allow me permission to go and fight. Imam Hussein reluctantly gives the permission to Habib. Janab Habib ibn Mazahir, this old man of Karbala, this man who was grey, this man who was at the end of his life, he rides into Karbala. He fights very bravely. He is knocked to the floor. He is hacked by the swords. He cries out, Adrikni ya Aba Abdullah, come and see me, O Hussein. Imam Hussein rushes towards Habib. He holds Habib in his arms. He speaks to Habib. He bids farewell to Habib. Habib passes away into the next life. They say that after Ashura, the head of all the shuhada are cut from the bodies. Azadaran, do you have strength to hear this? The heads of all of the shuhada are cut from the bodies. The heads are placed onto spears. The spears are taken into the streets of Kufa. It so happens that the son of Habib is in Kufa. As he looks up and he looks at the spears, he sees the head of his father mounted upon the spear. He begins to wail and cry. He begins to scream. There is a commotion. One of the soldiers says, give him the head of his father to make him quiet. The head is given to the son of Habib. I say, my salams to Imam Zainul Abidin. How did you go from Karbala to Kufa and Kufa to Sham? All the way looking at the head of your father and the head of your uncle Hazrat Abbas. Allah la'natullahi al-qawmi al-zalimin. Wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalibin yanqalibun matame Hussein.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
खुदा मेरे प्यारे हबीब कहते थे शाहे खुदा मेरे प्यारे हबीब दे गए तुम भी फिराक मेरे प्यारे हबीब कहते थे शाहे खुदा मेरे प्यारे हबीब कहते थे शाह मेरे प्यारे हबीब दे गए तुम भी फिराक मेरे प्यारे हबीब सीने पे नेज़े लगे सैकड़ों सदमे सहे सीने पे नेज़े लगे सैकड़ों सदमे सहे साथ न छोड़ा मेरा मेरे प्यारे हबीब कहते थे शाहे खुदा मेरे प्यारे हबीब कहते थे शाहे